You open your eyes to the sound of birds. For a moment, you remain still beneath the rough covering that protects you from the cold earth. The shelter is quiet. Around you, the others are still sleeping. Morning light begins to enter through the opening. You sit up and listen. A bird calls from somewhere beyond the rocks. Another answers from the valley. Below the shelter, you can hear the river moving over the stones. You stand and walk outside. The first sunlight touches your face. Before you is a valley you know so well. The river winds between the rocks, and beyond it, the mountains rise into the pale morning sky. Mist rests quietly above the water. You feel the cold earth beneath your feet. You are hungry. Soon the others will wake and the day will begin. There will be food to find, water to collect, and wood to gather. You look toward the river. Then you take your first step. You follow the river down the slope. The morning air is cool, but the sunlight is already warming the stones beneath your feet. You kneel beside the water and drink. The water is cold and clear. You lift your head and listen. Nothing is close. Only the river, the birds, and the soft movement of the grass. You look along the muddy edge. Small marks cross the ground, animal tracks. You do not know what made them. You study them for a moment, then continue walking. Near the riverbank, you find a few small roots beneath the soil. You pull them free and carry them back toward the shelter. By the time you return, the others have begun to wake. Someone has already gathered dry branches. You place the roots beside the shelter. The day has only just begun, and there is still much to find. The others are ready now. You leave the shelter together and follow a narrow path between the rocks. The sun is higher. Warm light spreads across the valley. You move slowly, searching the ground and the trees for anything useful. One of the others finds small berries. Another discovers roots beneath the soft earth. You stop beside a tree and examine its branches. A dry branch lies beneath it. You pick it up. It will burn well tonight. You carry it back with the others. For a while no one speaks. There is no need. You have done this many times. You know the land. You know where to look. You know when to stop. When your arms are full, you return toward the shelter. The river shines in the distance. The mountains stand quietly beyond it. The morning is slowly becoming warm, and somewhere among the trees you hear a distant animal call. The distant call comes again. You stop walking. Everyone becomes quiet. The sound comes from somewhere beyond the trees. You cannot see what made it. For a moment, you simply listen. Then, the birds suddenly rise from the branches. You watch them disappear above the valley. The others look toward the trees. No one moves closer. After a while, the forest becomes quiet again. You continue walking, but now you pay closer attention to every sound. A branch moves somewhere in the distance. Leaves rustle softly. Then you see it. Between the trees, a small animal quickly disappears into the tall grass. You watch the grass move for a few seconds. Then, everything becomes still. You turn back toward the shelter. The day is getting warmer, and the food you have gathered is waiting. The sun is now high above the valley. You walk back toward the shelter with the others. The branches rest across your arms. The roots and berries are carried carefully. As you approach, the familiar rocks appear between the trees. You know this place. You know where the river bends. You know which stones stay warm beneath the sun. You know where the shelter waits. Inside, the food is placed in a small pile. The branches are stacked beside the entrance. Nothing is left lying where it could be lost. You sit for a moment beneath the shade. The warmth of the day has settled over the valley. You hear the river below. The others begin preparing the food. Someone breaks a root into smaller pieces. Another gathers stones around the place where the fire will burn tonight. You watch quietly. For now, there is nothing else you need to do. The valley is calm. The day continues around you. You remain beneath the shelter while the others prepare the food. The stone around you is cool against your skin. Outside, the valley is bright and warm. You can hear the river flowing below and the leaves moving softly in the breeze. A small bird lands near the entrance. It looks toward you for a moment, then disappears into the trees. You pick up one of the roots that was gathered earlier. Its smell is earthy and fresh. You break it apart and share it with others. There is little to say. Everyone knows what must be done. The afternoon slowly passes. Sunlight moves across the ground outside the shelter. The shadows of the rocks grow longer. You listen to the sounds around you, the river, the wind, the distant calls of animals. For a while, you simply sit and rest. But the day is not over yet. Soon, the heat will begin to fade. And when the sun starts moving toward the mountains, you will need to gather more wood for the coming night. The heat begins to fade. You step outside and look toward the hills. The sun is slowly moving lower, and the valley has changed. The bright morning light is gone. The air feels softer now. You walk toward the edge of the trees and begin gathering dry branches. Some are small. Some are thick enough to keep a fire burning through the night. You carry them back one by one. The others are doing the same. Soon, a small pile of wood grows beside the shelter. You look toward the mountains. Their shadows stretch across the valley. A cool breeze passes through the grass. You stop for a moment and listen. The birds are quieter now. The river still moves below. The day is coming to an end. You carry the last branch back to the shelter. Tonight, there will be enough wood for the fire and enough warmth for everyone. The sun disappears behind the mountains. The valley grows quiet. You return to the shelter and place the last branches beside the stones. Someone kneels and begins preparing the fire. A small flame appears. You watch it grow as the dry wood catches. Warm light spreads across the rocks. The others gather close. For the first time today, no one needs to search for food or water. You sit beside the fire and hold your hands near the warmth. Beyond the shelter, the river reflects the last light of the sky. The air is becoming colder. You hear the wind moving through the grass. The fire crackles softly. You look into the flames. For a moment, there is nothing else. Only warmth. Only the people beside you. Only the quiet valley beyond the shelter. Night has arrived, and for now, you are safe. The fire burns quietly beside you. You look beyond the shelter. The last traces of daylight have disappeared, leaving the valley beneath a deep blue sky. The first stars begin to appear. You have seen them many times, but tonight you watch them for longer. There are so many. Some are bright, others are barely visible. The moon rises above the distant mountains, turning the river into a thin silver line. You hear the others speaking softly behind you. Their voices mix with the sound of the fire. You lean back against the warm stone. The air has become cold, but the fire keeps your hands warm. Far away, something calls from the darkness. You listen for a moment. Then the valley becomes quiet again. You look toward the mountains. They are only dark shapes beneath the stars. For the first time today, you feel no need to go anywhere. The fire is here. The people are here. The night surrounds you, and you simply watch the stars. You finally step inside the shelter. The fire outside still sends a soft glow through the entrance. The stone walls hold the warmth for a little while longer. Around you, the others settle into their resting places. Someone places the remaining food carefully beside the wall. Another adds a small branch to the fire. You sit quietly and listen. The wind moves outside. The river continues its endless journey through the valley. Every sound feels familiar. You look toward the entrance. The stars are still visible beyond the darkness. You know this place. The rocks, the river, the trees, the people beside you. Everything you need is here. You lie down on the cool earth and pull the rough covering closer. The warmth from the fire reaches you. Your body begins to relax. The sounds of the valley become softer. The night is deep now, and tomorrow, when the birds begin to sing again, another day will begin. You lie quietly inside the shelter. The stone beneath you is cool, but the warmth from the fire reaches through the darkness. You pull the rough covering closer and close your eyes. Outside, the wind moves softly through the grass. The fire crackles near the entrance. Beyond it, the river continues flowing through the valley. You hear it without needing to look. Slowly, the sounds around you begin to blend together. The wind, the river, the soft crackle of the fire. You take a slow breath. Your body feels heavy after the long day. There is nothing left to search for tonight. The food has been gathered. The wood is ready. The shelter is warm. The people you know are close. You open your eyes one last time. A faint glow from the fire touches the stone wall. Then you let your eyes close again. The valley is quiet. The mountains are dark beneath the stars. You listen to the river for a little longer, and slowly, without thinking about tomorrow, you fall asleep. The fire has become quieter now. Only a few glowing pieces of wood remain. You are still asleep. Outside the shelter, the wind passes gently through the grass. The river continues moving through the darkness. Nothing needs your attention. Nothing needs to be changed. The people around you remain close. The stone walls protect you from the cold night air. Above the valley, the stars remain bright. The moon slowly lights the tops of the distant mountains. You sleep deeply. The sounds of the valley become part of your dreams. The river, the wind, the distant calls of animals, the soft warmth of the fire. Everything is quiet, everything is familiar, and while the night continues around you, you remain safely inside the shelter, resting beneath your simple covering. For a long time, there is nothing but darkness, warmth, and the gentle sounds of the world outside. You do not need to wake. You do not need to move. You simply sleep. You remain asleep beneath the simple covering. The night passes slowly around you. Outside the shelter, the river continues its quiet journey through the valley. The sound never stops. It moves over the stones, disappears into the darkness, then returns again. The fire beside the entrance gives off a faint warmth. Every now and then, a small piece of wood glows brighter before settling back into the embers. The wind moves gently through the grass. Far away, an animal calls once, then silence returns. You do not wake. The shelter remains still and warm. Above the valley, the stars shine over the mountains. The moonlight touches the rocks and the sleeping trees. Nothing changes. Nothing is required of you. The day is finished. The food is being gathered. The fire has been made. The shelter is around you. You can simply remain here, listening to the river, listening to the wind, listening to the quiet fire, and letting the long night pass peacefully. You wake for a moment. You do not know how long you have been asleep. The fire has almost disappeared, leaving only a faint red glow among the stones. The shelter is darker than before. You listen carefully. Someone nearby shifts in their sleep, then becomes still again. From outside comes a soft sound. You raise your head. Something is moving through the grass beyond the entrance. You cannot see it clearly. Only the faint outline of the grass changing beneath the moonlight. You remain quiet. After a few moments, the movement stops. Whatever was there has gone. You lower your head again. Through the entrance, the moon hangs above the mountains. For a brief moment, you watch it in silence. Then, you pull the covering closer. The stone beneath you is familiar. The shelter is safe. You close your eyes again. This time, sleep returns quickly. You wake again, but this time the darkness feels different. The fire has nearly gone out. Only a few warm stones remain beside the entrance. Outside, the valley is completely silent. You sit up and look through the opening. The stars are beginning to fade. The moon is lower now, hanging above the distant mountains. For the first time, you notice a faint gray light behind the peaks. Dawn is coming. You step outside. The ground is cold beneath your feet. The air feels fresh. You look across the valley. Nothing moves except a thin mist drifting above the river. Then, somewhere in the trees, you hear the first bird. A second voice answers. You stand there quietly and listen. The darkness is slowly giving way to morning. Behind you, the others are still asleep. You look once more toward the mountains. Another day is about to begin, and for a moment you simply watch the world wake.